Okay, that took a while. Okay, so let's learn some Torah. How's that? Shmiras haLashon Shara Torah Perek. Okay, right. We had that wonderful Gemara that Ha'ora Smach Smach Sun B'Tetzev Yisahar Ba'oy Halecho. Right. That Yisachar sitting in Oy Halecha means in Zvulun's Oyel. Remember that yesterday? Okay. So up to Gimel Nisan. Zoicha Gam Ken Avur Zel Abanim Tovim Ukedoshim Sheitz. Remember, we're talking about supporting learning Torah. Talmid Chachamim says the Chofetz Chaim takes it another step. Before he spoke about the step that you have a chelik, an equal chelik with the person learning, if you support him, and it's brought that it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. That's the way Torah works. Now he's saying also you're to have good children and kadeshim, holy children. Said that you'll have because of doing this. Says in Pashas Mitzvah, Pasuk in Mishlei, Eitz Chaim Hil Machzikim Bov Samchem Mu'ushar. Pretty famous pasuk. Says the Gemara, says the Zohar, my not Tomchel. Who are these Tomchel? Who are these supporters? And tus Elon the Matilin Malai Lechison Shel Talmidei Chacham. These are those people who give merchandise to the Chachamim so they can make a living. V'chulu, the Elon the Matilin Malai Lechison Del Tamichim, those who do it, Inun Tomkin Laraisa Mereshat Yuma de Gufa. They are the ones who support the Torah from the beginning, Meharoish at Seif Haguf, from the head to the end of the body, whatever that means. And all the Amuna is dependent on this Vitmach V'Zoche Levenin, and this is what he was bringing, and they merit to have children, Yisthazon and V'yei Mehemna, that are fitting to be Nevi'im, truthful Nevi'im. Okay, we don't have Nevi'im now, but they're fit. Hago. Says the Chofetz Chaim here, in a Hago. Ube'emes Kishem Shematzina Shakadosh Baruch Hu Kidesh Shevet Al Levi V'Yisrael L'Kal Yisrael. Says, just as we found that Kadosh Baruch Hu declared, designated Shevet Levi, right? Made them Kodesh. And he told Klal Yisrael, Shali Lazer V'Sal Levi, don't leave the Levi, as it says in the Chumash, Devarim. You're responsible to take care of the Leviim. They're designated to do the Avodah, and we're responsible. Says Chofetz Chaim. Similarly, it's the Ritzayin of Hashem Shenachzik Hanoshim Haporshim Atzmin Yoni Oilam. For those people who leave, they separate themselves from the Oilam Hazar business. So they could focus on serving Hashem. He says that the Pasha Svara, they're no less than Levi in this idea. So haLashon Rambam, famous Rambam, Rabbi Yisai. Everyone has to know this Rambam. At the end of Hilchos Shemitah, the last Rambam in Hilchos Shemitah, V'Yayvel Perek Yud Gimel. That's like this. He quotes it. Why is it that Levi didn't get a portion in Eretz Yisrael, and they don't get from when there's the wars, they don't get the booty, they don't get a portion? There's Rambam because they've been separated, designated, separated to serve Hashem. And teach his ways. As the Levi is also separated to be the teachers. Shenemar Pasuk in Dvarim Yoru Mishpatecha Yisrael by the bracha of Levi, that they'll teach the Mishpatim to Yaakov and the Torah to Yisrael. And therefore, Huvdu V'Dacherim, so they were separated from being involved in the world. Loy Orchim Machama Kishar Yisrael, they don't go to war. Okay, that's for today. They don't go to war like other Jews. They don't inherit land. Rather, they are the army of Hashem Shenemar. This is all the Rambam. As it says, Berach Hashem Cheloi. Hu Baruch Hu Zoichelem. And Hashem is Zoicha for them. Shenemar Ani Cheltecha, Benachal Secha, I'm your portion. Then it's the Rambam, the famous lines. Well, Shevet Levi Bovad, this is not only true for Shevet Levi. El Kol Ish V'ish Mikol B'Olam. Every individual. He says, from all those in the world, that he's uplifted. He understands the brother Lamed Pnei Hashem to separate himself and be,
Right. So why doesn't the Rambam say Kol Ish Yisrael?
That's a good question. I was hoping someone would ask it. I know the answer.
You prompted that.
It's very
question.
Yeah. That's simple for you to figure out. Lamed Pnei Hashem, L'Sharsai, he chooses, right, to separate himself from being involved in the world and rather serve Hashem, l'deis Hashem, to know Hashem, b'hoilach yosha, k'may sh'aso elikim, u'parak me'al tzavorei, kol cheshbonos harami, takes off, he removes from his neck, he removes himself from all the cheshbonos, how am I going to live, what am I going to do, shabikshu b'nei yodam, how it's in the Scottish Kodesh, says the Rambam, he's Neskadesh Kodesh Kodoshim. Hashem Chelkem and Achlosei Lo'ilam Ulomei Elam. Hashem will be his portion forever and ever on. Yiskelei B'Olam Hazeh, and he'll get in this world Davar Maspik Loi. What's sufficient for him to exist? Just as the Kohanim and Levim get. Hari David Alav Hashem Maimer. David HaMelech says, Hashem Enos Chelki Ata Toimach Geroli. You support my goyrel. Listen, I can only share with you. I was zoicha to learn in Kailo for 10 years. It wasn't easy. I didn't have a father or a father-in-law that said, "Here's my credit card. Do with it as you wish." Not at all. But there's no way I could explain how I did it. There were times when I didn't have what I think I needed, but it was 10 years, and I had a nice sized family. And it doesn't work, pen and paper. You take out a pen and paper and try to figure it out, it doesn't work. But there are, and I wasn't the only one. There are many, many people learning in Kolo. Yet somehow it works.
You once told me a story with your Steinman that he had a job in the yeshiva teaching or something, and he was owed money, and the yeshiva came several years later to pay him. Well, you want me? Okay, you want me to finish, or you can say the story?
No, you're doing good. You're doing good. It wasn't 7 years later. He was a Rebbe in yeshiva, and they didn't pay. And 6 months later, when it came to Pesach, they were able to put together money, and they came to him to give him his 6 months owed salary. And he said, "No, I'm not taking it." And they said, "What do you mean you're not taking it? We owe it to you." He says, "Listen, I take the salary. Hold on. Stop the recording for a minute. We owe you the money. We owe you the money." And he said, the only reason I take the money is so I should be able to live. But I did those 6 months a month already without it. So I don't, forget it, and then they asked him how he did it. He sort of found this, I don't know if it was eating eggplant every day for 3 meals a day or something really cheap. It's something ridiculous, actually. But he was saying there's no reason to take the money because the money is so I could live. I lived. I did it, So let's move forward. And he wouldn't take the money. Can you imagine? Can you imagine someone doing that today, telling the Menahel, "I'm not taking the money you owe me"? Because there was only so I could live, and I've lived anyways, and I don't need it, Okay, that's why he turned out who he is. But
from a total opposite side. Yeah. I know somebody, a rabbi that was his father-in-law got a bunch of money from somehow. This was they were charge of some bingo event, like fundraiser, and like
Right.
after years and years of accumulation, he was like the trust. They gave him all the money, and he had to now donate it to different people. So his son-in-law was learning, and he didn't know if he should take this money or not. So they went to actually to Reb David Feinstein. And Reb David Feinstein asked him a few questions, you know, a bunch, and he said, "Okay, take the money." Told him you should take the money.
Right. Right. Okay. That's true also. Right. Okay, let's go. All right, let's do another day. Included in this concept of supporting Tamir Chacham, it's to marry off your daughter to the Tamir Chacham. Mamar Chazal, the Gemara in Ksuva says, Shema Alav HaKosa Kilu Medabek Bashkina. By doing that, you're attaching yourself, as if you're attaching yourself to the Shekhinah. What you call about Psachim, as the Gemara in Psachim says, Lo Elam Yimkar Adam Hamashi Yesh, person should sell everything he got. He owns V'yisa Bas Tamar Chacham and marry the daughter of Tamar Chacham, V'yasi Bite the Tamar Chacham, and marry your daughter off to a Tamar Chacham. Shemesa Goyla, you born of Tamir Chacham, that if for some reason you die, or you have to go into Golas, your children will be assured to be Tamir Chacham because your daughter, your children meaning your grandchildren, your descendants, because they're married to a Tamar Chacham. It was Manenu. Says Chavetz Chaim Bavin Rabbim, in our times, unfortunately, based on kindness, in some places, Karen HaTorah Yordal Alpha. The Torah was despised, was looked down at. We know that in Europe, at that time, before World War II, especially if you read Rabbi Victor Miller's writings, he was there, he had gone to Slobodka. He says, we talked about the glorious yeshivas, but right outside the door of the yeshivas, the Torah was falling apart. People were down, looking down at Torah and stuff. It was a very bad situation. Even in the yeshivas, there were people who weren't whatever. And those who are learning Torah are getting less. The numbers are going down. And nobody wanted to marry. You know, there's a phrase, the Alta Mirrors. The Mirrors got married older and stuff. Nobody wanted to marry yeshiva bach. It's unbelievable how it's just the opposite today. Everybody wants to marry a yeshiva guy. Nobody wanted to marry yeshivas. It was a problem. That's why they were so old. Nobody wanted to marry them. He says that at times it's easier to find a good shidduch for the people, out there. I mean, the Motzei Lom De Torah, rather than find one for someone learning Torah. He says it's a tremendous obstacle. By doing this, but those learning Torah see that nobody supports them. No one's backing them. No one's there for them, and it's a very big challenge, and they could lose it. And it's on top of that, it's such an embarrassment to the Torah. That those who learn the Torah are alone. Nobody brings them in. How will we answer for such an embarrassment to the Torah? How are we going to respond to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the future? When Hashem calls us to task for that elbowing. As it says in the Zohar Chodesh, Pasuk in Malachi, days coming where it's going to be hot like an oven. So the Zohar Chodesh says that day is when Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Hashem is going to come and he's going to take us to task for the elbow, for the disgrace of the Torah. Says the Chafetz Chaim screamed about such a situation. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Be'ezras Hashem. Oh, the next 2 days. I don't think I could do it.